Pharaoh Neferkhamun was a wise and powerful ruler, beloved by his people and feared by his enemies. His reign had been long and prosperous, marked by advances in agriculture, architecture, and the worship of the god Amun. Under Neferkhamun's rule, Egypt had flourished, and his kingdom's wealth was unrivaled in the ancient world. He was a man of principle and honor, always prioritizing the welfare of his people over his personal desires. But the years had taken their toll on the aging ruler. His once vigorous body was now frail, and whispers began to spread throughout the kingdom that his reign was nearing its end. A prophecy spoken by an oracle had foretold that his bloodline would be broken by betrayal from within his own family. Pharaoh Neferkhamun dismissed the prophecy as superstition, yet it gnawed at the back of his mind, planting seeds of doubt and fear. Still, he loved his son, Prince Aken, and trusted him implicitly. Prince Aken was everything his father had once been, strong, intelligent, and hungry for power. As the heir to the throne, he was groomed for leadership and taught the skills needed to rule. But unlike his father, Aken was ambitious to a fault. He did not want to merely inherit the throne, he wanted it now, while he was in his prime. Patience was not his strength, and he grew increasingly resentful of his father's reluctance to step down. Aken's inner circle of advisors sensed his frustration and stoked the flames of ambition within him. They fed him visions of grandeur, persuading him that he was the rightful ruler of Egypt, that his father's time had passed, and that the kingdom needed fresh leadership to face new challenges. In the prince's heart, loyalty to his father began to wane, replaced by an insatiable lust for power. One night, as he gazed upon the Nile from his palace balcony, Prince Aken made a fateful decision. He would not wait any longer. To justify his treachery, Aken sought the favor of the gods. The prince journeyed to the temple of Seth, the god of chaos and disorder, known to favor those who sought power through unconventional means. There, amidst the flickering flames of incense and the chants of priests, Aken offered a sacrifice and prayed for strength to overthrow his father. He was answered by a vision. Seth appeared to him as a shadowy figure, whispering promises of triumph in exchange for an oath of loyalty. In his ambition, Aken agreed, binding himself to a path of deception and bloodshed. With Seth's blessing, he returned to the palace with a new plan, one that would not only dethrone his father, but ensure that Aken's own rule would go unchallenged. The plan took form during the grand festival of Amun, where nobles from across Egypt would gather to honor the god and pay tribute to Pharaoh Neferkhamun. Prince Aken chose this night to execute his betrayal. He ordered a cup of wine to be laced with a rare poison, a substance known only to a few, harvested from the venom of desert vipers. It was a poison that would slowly weaken its victim over days, masking itself as an illness brought on by age. During the evening's celebration, as dancers performed and musicians played, Aken approached his father with the poisoned chalice. Smiling warmly, he offered the drink as a toast to their kingdom's future, concealing his dark intentions behind his charm. Neferkhamun, unaware of his son's treachery, accepted the cup, embracing his son with pride before taking a long drink. Within moments, the poison began to work. Pharaoh Neferkhamun fell ill shortly after the festival. The royal physicians were baffled as no cure seemed to aid his ailing body. Aken, meanwhile, began to assume more responsibilities, positioning himself as the kingdom's leader, claiming he was preparing for the inevitable transition. However, the gods and the spirits of their ancestors had seen Aken's treachery. In his fevered dreams, Pharaoh Neferkhamun was visited by the ghost of his father, who warned him of his son's betrayal. The vision filled Neferkhamun with rage and sorrow. He realized that the prophecy he had once dismissed was coming to pass. Summoning the last of his strength, he called for his most loyal general Menket and entrusted him with his final command to stop Prince Aken at all costs. Despite his weakened state, Neferkhamun knew he had to confront his son. Summoning Aken to his chamber, he challenged him, accusing him of betrayal. Aken did not deny it. With cold defiance, he told his father that he had waited too long to step aside, that the kingdom needed a ruler who was strong and able. Neferkhamun, devastated, condemned his son and renounced him as the rightful heir. Word spread quickly throughout the palace, and soon the whole city knew of the betrayal. Supporters of the pharaoh and those loyal to Aken clashed in the streets, dividing the kingdom. Menket, the loyal general, rallied the royal guards and loyal nobles to defend the pharaoh, but Aken's followers were equally determined. Brother fought brother as the civil war erupted within the palace walls. In the midst of the chaos, Aken confronted his father one last time in the throne room. With a cold, calculating smile, Aken claimed the throne as his own, declaring that the gods had chosen him. The weakened pharaoh, his spirit battered but unbroken, raised his sword for a final stand against his son. Their battle was fierce but brief. Aken, younger and stronger, overpowered Neferkhamun. Yet as he stood over his father, ready to deliver the final blow, he hesitated. Neferkhamun, with his dying breath, cursed Aken, telling him that the gods would never bless a throne claimed through blood and treachery. This curse, he said, would haunt Aken and his lineage for all eternity. Prince Aken took the throne, but the curse of his father lingered. Though he ruled, he was never able to find peace. Each night, he was tormented by visions of Neferkhamun's face, warning him that no one could escape the judgment of the gods. His closest allies betrayed him, and his people began to lose faith, believing the throne to be tainted by Aken's deeds. Aken's reign was plagued by famine, drought, and unrest. The Nile, which had once flowed generously, became unpredictable. Crops withered and his subjects grew resentful. The very gods he had called upon turned their backs on him. In time, Aken realized the weight of his betrayal. He had gained the throne, but at a cost far greater than he had anticipated. Desperate to appease the gods, Aken built grand temples and made offerings, yet the curse endured. His once loyal advisors abandoned him, and the people whispered of a prophecy fulfilled, a bloodline broken by treachery. Prince Aken's tale became a cautionary legend in Egypt. He ruled for years, but his reign brought only suffering. His name was eventually erased from monuments, and his tomb was hidden away, shunned by both gods and men. Pharaoh Neferkhamun was remembered with reverence, a symbol of loyalty and justice, while Aken became a byword for betrayal. Generations later, Egypt would still remember the cursed prince who had betrayed his own blood, paying a heavy price for a fleeting taste of power. His story, carved into ancient stone and passed down through generations, served as a reminder that ambition unchecked could bring ruin not only to the ambitious, but to all they held dear.